Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting show with me, Richard Vobes, Bald Explorer. Bald as a coot. Have you ever seen a coot bald? Well, you are looking at one now. Yes, it's the 6th of March 2018 as I record this in a tiny little back room of a terraced house at the edge of the English Channel at the foot of the Sussex South Downs, the chalky Sussex South Downs, where the water, when it falls, it trickles through all the little white, whatever it is, the fish cells that makes up chalk, and voids all the flints and what have you, and gets down into the jolly old aquifer, and then spurts out of the ground somewhere you, and drowns you terribly. Yes, that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting show. And what are we talking about in today's show? Well, I was taken out for lunch today, ladies and gentlemen. I was taken out for lunch. Oh, it's very nice, very posh. It's very posh lunch. I'll tell you about that in today's show. Also, we seem to be getting a lot more members now in the old group. When I last looked, we had 392 members of the Bald Explorer group, which was rather fantastic. I'm very, very thrilled. Now, I'm impressed that so many people have lined up and presented their passports and all identification and handed over their handbags for inspection and all their golden cufflinks and all the jewellery and everything. They've handed over their toupees and they put on their little black glasses to be impressions of the old Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi, and made their way into the Bald Explorer group. Yes, the Bald Explorer group, and have found their way to post some exciting stuff. So that's really, I'm really thrilled. Thank you so much. It's so nice. This is going somewhere, isn't it? We're doing something with this. This isn't just like, you know, a spit in the wind. Oh, thanks. We're actually doing something, so it's marvellous. So thank you very much for doing that. And do go in there if you're not a member, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not a member of the group, make sure you get in there. You do need to be approved because it is a sort of a private group. So you do need to be approved. It's very easy. I just go click and you're approved. And if you're going to lob flower bombs at me or strange, mysterious colouring books, so be it. That's all I say. So be it. So be it, not Soviet. No, I don't want to say that. Be careful you don't get poisoned, you know. A lot of people go around here do get poisoned if you say the wrong Soviet. Anyway, here we are, back in the for another exciting live show. I say it's exciting. How do I know it's exciting? Well, I'm excited, so I'm very easily excitable. That is the honest truth. Anyway, let's see who's out there and see if anyone's actually watching. It's always worth having a look. Yes, here we go. The same old retrobates are out there, which is marvellous. So hello to Paul and Chris and Brendan and Julia. Oh, Julia's in tomorrow, by the way, and Anne and Jake and Linda Bridger. Hello, Linda Bridger from Rustington, just down the road. It's so exciting. And who else have we got there? Roy. Hello, Roy. And Paul Watts. It's so marvellous. You've all turned up on time, which is great. I don't have to get my big cane out and swish it around. No. As if I would. Well, give them the chance. Be fair. You know, it's always good fun. Anyway, and Malcolm Berry. Hello, Malcolm. So nice to see you. It was lovely. We're all very merry when who should arrive but Malcolm Berry. Yes, it's very, very good, isn't it? Steve has arrived, and Jurgen and Alex, and it's marvellous. Brilliant. Well, that's very nice. I just want to apologise. I haven't seen Russell there. I wanted to apologise to Russell McDonald Bell, who, ding dong, such a lovely name. Oh, Claire Leach just arrived, just in there at the back. Just saw you, spotted you there, Claire. Lovely to see you. Yes, so Russell McDonald Bell, you wrote me this very magnificent email yesterday. Oh, here he is. He's here. I'm here. I really am here. I'm jumping for joy. Well, Russell, you wrote me this very lovely email, and it was my every intention this morning to make a proper reply to you, because I do like to try and reply to everybody everybody who gets in contact. I think that part of the host's job is to at least acknowledge everybody where possible, and to reply to the comments. You know, not all of the comments, not the comments that say, "Yeah, you got funny nose." I don't reply to those comments. Or, "Is your cauliflower ears real?" Yes, they are real. Actually, I grew them myself in my own pot of fungi, which is quite an interesting thing to do. But anyway, no, I do feel it's important. So I do try to answer, and I feel I failed you, Russell McDonald Bell. I feel I've terribly failed you. I have let the side down. I just can't bear it. I can't live with myself. I cannot live with... So if I suddenly walk off, if I just go like this... That's it. It's all over. I've had enough. No more. No more. You'll understand quite... Oh, hello. Hang on. Cushion has fallen over. Yes, so you'll understand that I'm feeling a little bit down, that I have made a hiccup in this. Anyway, enough of this nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just very excited because tomorrow we have the lovely Julia coming in. But apart from that, in the meantime, you've only got me. So apologies for that. And by the way, I do look at the messages, but sometimes I can't answer all of them. And you know what it's like. Very busy man, people to see, phone calls to write, letters to make, eats to gobble, and cheese to brew. It's all go here. So how do you do? Yes, it's all a bit mad today. I do apologise. Oh, my sister is here. Hello, Corinne. Lovely to see you. Or for you to see me, of course. The old baldy brother. You've heard of the band of brothers. She's got a baldy brother, which is not quite the same thing. I do believe that it is my nephew's birthday today, so I know he's not watching. He's probably got better things to do. But happy birthday to Oscar, who is my nephew, and he is of an age, ladies and gentlemen. He's probably the same age as Billy, who is also of an age. But I no idea what that age is, because every year the children, they get older and older, and I get more forgetful and forgetful. You know, when they were young, it was much easier, because I continually told you, "I'm 3, Daddy, I'm 3. Yes, I know you're 3. "I'm 4 now, Daddy, I'm 4. Yes, we know you're 4, that's right. But when they get older, and you know, now my children, they turn around to me and say to me, "I'm 78, Father." "You're not 78. What does that make me?" "Ancient, Father. Dead, in fact, Father." "Dead? Oh, charming." Well, like my dad. Oh, hang on, be careful, Corinne's watching. My dad's in the other room, well, in a box, sadly, as ashes. Yes, let's get on with the show. I had a lunch, ladies and gentlemen. I had a delicious lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to... now, is he out there? I haven't seen his name pop up as yet. Oh, by the way, hello, Anne. Anne, bless you, Anne. She's very lovely. And Kushti Phil. Hello, Kushti Phil. Stay watching, Kushti Phil, because I've picked something of yours to show. So that's all good. Brendan Potts is here. Oh, yes, Nigel Sadler. There he is. We had a delicious lunch. Is there any watching under the age of 30, he asks. Well, that is true. Maybe under the age of 30... Oh, I was going to crack a joke that isn't even funny. So there we are. Move on, Mr. Vobes. Yeah, so we went to a place called, was it The Woods or Woods? I can't remember. Very difficult, because it was a wood of scaffolding outside it in Worthing, at the back of Boots the chemist. Do people still call it The Chemist? Boots the Chemist? I don't know. Maybe they do. Anyway, that's where we were. And he was out down to sort out his affairs, because his mother sadly has died. And he was in the area, and he said, "Here, Richard, come on, let's have a good old chinwag." And we had a delicious meal. It was the lovely burgers. We had the house burger, which was rather good. And with that came a whole load of... burger fillings, and it was very drippy. It was not from fat and nasty stuff. No, none of that nonsense. It was delicious. It was really good. And the chips came in a little pot and all that, and we were gobbling that all. And then I felt a bit sorry because Nigel said, "I'll treat you, Richard. I'll treat you. Whatever you want. Slap up lunch, champagne, the Ritz, no problem. For you, Richard, you can have it all." And I thought, oh, so kind, so kind. You know, what have I done to deserve that? Probably nothing, really. But anyway, so he said, "Whatever you want." And then the waiter, who was very attentive, very sort of young and very handsome sort of chap, you know, is everything all right? Very dashing, he was, very dashing. Is everything all right? And said, oh, yes, no, it's all very nice. Would you like a sweet? Well, and of course, I was being treated. So, and I looked at Nigel, and he looked at me, and I felt poor old Nigel was in a bit of a sort of an embarrassing state. When you take somebody out and you sort of thinking to yourself, don't have the sweet, whatever you do, don't have the sweet, don't have the coffee, don't have the biscuits and cheese, don't have the souffle, don't have any of that, I'll do the main meal, but that's it. So he looked at me, because this waiter chap was, oh, but they're very nice. I'll bring you the menu. So he brought the menu, and of course I succumbed, and I said, oh, don't worry, I'll contribute, which is only fair, and I did, actually. Thank you. Yes, I'm not just there for a free lunch, I did contribute, and so I had this. What was it? It was supposed to be apple crumble, and now I know what you're thinking. A nice bit of pastry with a bit of cream on the top, and half an apple, or maybe a quarter of an apple, and a couple of pips. That's what you're thinking, isn't it? That is exactly what you're thinking. Because I'm a bit of a mind reader. I told you the other day I did hypnosis. You will do as I say. But also I do mind reading. I read my own mind, and that's filthy enough for anybody. But it was more. It was more than that. First of all, it came in a saucepan. The sweet came in a saucepan, and it was quite a large saucepan with a red-hot handle, and I cracked some joke. I said, oh, you need a Bunsen burner to put under that to heat it up. And I grabbed the handle, and the handle was red-hot, and I've now got that red... Oh, it's gone. Well, I had a red scar right across there. Miraculously, it's gone. And so that was. Anyway, it came in this saucepan. It was delicious. It had nuts on it, and there was not just apples. There was blackberries and a lovely dollop of ice cream. It was delicious. And Nigel went for the cheesecake, which was a sort of upside down cheesecake, which I think it didn't impress him very much. And if I remember, he said it was a little bit too sweet. And he's just confirming it. He says, yes, we really did. So there you go. Anyway, so that was my meal, and it was very nice. And thank you very much, Nigel. That was very kind of you. And they were very nice at Woods, I have to say. They were lovely. So I'm giving them a little bit of, if you, and I think they're independent. They're not one of these chains. So that's always nice, isn't it? Always nice to give a bit of a help to an independent company who actually treat you well and look after you. And we did leave a bit of a tip. No, we didn't leave the place in a tip. No, behave. We left. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So that was very nice. Now, Nigel, I should tell you this. Nigel said to me, he said, well, I noticed he was wearing a badge. He was wearing a badge, you see. And his notebook had a picture on it. And the badge was of Thunderbirds. Do you remember Thunderbirds? Were you a fan? Here's a big question. Were you a fan of Thunderbirds? You remember Thunderbirds, don't you? Thunderbirds are go! And it reminded me, I said to him, because on his notebook he had a picture of the new CG Thunderbirds, which I have to say, it wasn't really for me, because I'm one of those people that when something's been done, it's been done. It's like when people remake things. Although having said that, I didn't object to the new Avengers when they came out with Joanna Lumley and the Coffee Man. You know who it is. They still had Steed, though. But I did like the original Avengers. So that was all good. But mostly, when they try and remake things, I just think, well, why don't you make something new instead of make something new of something that was old and that was really good and was all right. But anyway, I mean, I think the young kids these days, they love it because it's CG and it's, still got the ethos of it. So I think it's all right. So that's okay. But anyway, it reminded me when I used to do the Vobes show. Now, you probably heard me mention this a few times. When I used to do the Vobes show, which is like another era. It does feel like being in another era when I did the Vobes show. That was a podcast. That was kind of like this. Daily 30-minute, but it was a podcast. It was only audio. And now with audio, you can get up to mischief with audio because you can create sound effects and you can create the pictures are always better and you don't have to look at the host. And the host doesn't have to try and quickly find all these images to shove up and stuff. So it's much more fun. But anyway, I was running the Vobes show for about 10 years. And it was a sort of nutty show like this, really. And one day, somebody sent me a copy of all the incidental music and title music of the Thunderbird series. you remember the Thunderbird series? So, oh, there we are. Rob Moore says the woods is awesome. I had a mountain burger. There you go. Fantastic. How lovely is that? So anyway, it reminded me that I did a parody of it. And I was doing this show, and I had a computer with sound effects on. I had a computer with the music on, and I just had the microphone. And of course, no one was watching. But I did this show for about 40 minutes, all improvised, finding the tracks, the soundtrack, finding the audio, and finding the sound effects, rather. And I was doing all the characters and all of that. And it reminded me. So I said to Nigel, I said, I'll find it and send it to you, which is what I did. Anyway, of course, in trying to find the blooming thing, I had to search through the archive. So I searched through the archive and I found it, and I listened to a bit of it, and I listened to a bit more, and I thought, gosh, that's quite funny. And then I found that somebody had made a condensed version. A friend of mine, Phil Clark, who used to make these sweepers, as we used to call them, that would go into the show. Anyway, that's kind of irrelevant, but Phil Clark made this very condensed version as a little sample of what this thing was like. So I thought, because it's only 2 minutes, I thought I would play it in to you just to show you just how barking mad I can be. It's only 2 minutes. I'll put something up on the screen, obviously, and so that you can have a quick look at it, and it gives me a chance to go and have a quick drink of water at the same time. So would that be acceptable? Would that be all right? Okay. Let me just quickly find the picture then. I'm saying okay because there's a delay. So before you actually get a chance to actually answer, I've already made up my mind for you, which is, a sensible way of proceeding, I think. So here we go. So yes, so this is my rendition of Thunderbirds. It's only a couple of minutes, so I hope you enjoy it.
Recently, Richard Bowes released a one-man show parodying the British television series Thunderbirds. This audio has been forwarded to the appropriate authorities so that we may investigate the sanity of this man. We believe that this type of broadcasting violates several laws that do not permit madmen to broadcast to the general public. However, we do not make these accusations lightly and prefer to allow you, the listener, to judge for yourself. We have condensed the 45-minute show into 2 minutes of bedlam.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
This is International Rescue. I'm John, and I'm up in space. Right, well, we obviously need to do something about this. What's going on? This is Jeff Tracy here in a nice, wonderful pinstripe suit, looking as sexy as anything.
Yes, I can hear that wind myself, Raymond. And I've got, not only the middle pod, I've got pod 5, pod 6, pod 3, pod 2, pod half and a 1, and I've got the mole. My wicked little friend. Yes?
I will topple this tower of ultimate heights.
I obey. I obey. I obey.
Goodness gracious, if they were to come over and push over this building, why, we'd be all in big trouble, and what would we do?
Well, this is very nice.
I think I've broken my nose.
That's right, Parker. Somebody does have to do it.
Yeah,
Get out of here, boy!
Oh, it looks like Thunderbird 2 has just arrived. It must have got the new exciting cloaking device on it, which makes it look like a train.
Don't you realise how important this is? We've got our reputation, and we've got all sorts of things on the boil.
The horrible, evil, and rather nasty, bald-headed man with the bright yellow eyes.
Oh no, looks like all of them seem to have sunk in some horrible, hideous mountain thing. And worse than that, it's raining.
I think we've had a wonderful episode tonight.
We don't have a stop button.
Goodbye. Goodbye now.
I think our case rests.
This man is completely bonkers!
So, so there you go. I just thought I'd play that in. I found it there. Of course, none of that will make any sense because they were like little snippets, tiny little snippets from the overall adventure. And I could make the podcast available if you're interested and you want to hear an absolute load of nonsense. It was completely improvised, and Nigel will tell you whether it was worth listening to or not. But he was a big fan. Anyway, enough of that. That's got. I just thought I'd add that. However, now let's just. It was the Sidewinder, wasn't it? If I remember rightly. Anyway, let's come on to some of the interesting things here, because I just got to find this thing. Oh, by the way, this was sent in by good old Simon Brown, who said, because I sometimes refer to my listeners as sitting there listening to the podcast, The Naked Englishman. If you're a patron, you get The Naked Englishman podcast, which is a sort of behind the scenes of my life. And I often say that people are sitting there in their smoking jackets with their Persian slippers. And so he said I ought to go into merchandising and sell some Persian slippers, which probably is a very generous idea. Maybe I could put a sort of pair of bald heads on the on the leather there. Anyway, I'll let you decide on that one. So what I wanted to go into next, if I can just get rid of this. Here we go. No, that's not it. Here we go. Had this lovely today the episode, the walking episode, the video that I do each day was about Liss. It was the place where I was born, and I had this lovely email or message from Wendy Wakelin, and she said, "Oh yes, I enjoyed your thing. Obviously never seen any of the Vobes things before, and she stumbled across it because it was in her town, Liss, and or Petersfield, which is near Liss, and she got in touch and said, "Oh, I love watching that. It was very nice. Thanks ever so much for showing that episode." She says, "We often you could see us popping around in the village in our traction engine." And I thought, oh yeah. So she posted a picture of the traction engine. Here it is. I asked her if it was all right to use the picture, and she said, "Oh yes, use it and abuse it," she said. She probably didn't speak quite like that. And I then got in touch with her and I said, "Look, hey, this is really good, because I would love to come and interview somebody who has a traction engine. I know some my other listeners have got traction engines, and I've been desperately trying to say, oi, come on, I want to do an interview, because they're such romantic creatures, these old steam beasts that used to work on the fields and pull logs and help plough fields and thresh. We all like to go and visit the threshing machine, don't we? We all like a good threshing. Who doesn't like a good threshing round here? We all like a good thresh. I love it. So I said to Wendy, I said, "What do you think? If there's?" She said, "Oh yes, you must come up." And it turns out. Hang on a minute. Have I got what else? The one of her traction engines, the very first one she bought, is called Victoria. Here it is. Victoria the Empress, which actually belonged to her in the long distance past, I think in something like 1886, when her great-grandfather used to use it for a bit of threshing. We all like a bit of threshing, don't we, eh? We all like a bit of threshing on the side, threshing to go. Anyway, and she's obviously written these lovely little stories, as you can see here in that picture, and they look very charming. Here's another one. Look, there we are. Look at that. It's kind of like Thomas the Tank Engine, but with traction engines. And it obviously tells and teaches the children what used to go on in the farms in the old days. And I think that's absolutely marvellous. So if you fancy checking her out, she does actually have a website. And I've got it here. The website is worth looking at if you want to buy a kiddie's book. Is Victoria's Taunton Tales. Victoria's Taunton Tales.co.uk. Just .uk, in fact. No okie cokey. If you like a bit of threshing, that's the place to go. Anyway, I'll bung a link after the show so you can check it up. All the steam engines in Victoria Taunton Tales are based on real-life traction engines, especially Victoria herself. So I thought that was really nice. So I'm hoping that we can get out there. I can get out with my camera and do a nice interview and a nice piece and get the traction engine steaming up. Would you like to see that? That's why I brought it up. Would you like to see the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi go out and investigate that? That would be great. Jake is out there asking, is anybody from the US of A watching? And occasionally we do get a few of them, of course, but you've got to bear in mind, unfortunately for the Americans, this is usually in the middle of their day or just as they're about to get home from work. Or on their way home, it's sort of in the afternoon, depending on what side of the USA. So, unless they might be listening in a meeting somewhere. They might be having a meeting, and people do, don't they? And they're in some boring corporate meeting, and they're going, "Oh yeah, well I'll just check the figures on my phone. How is that, Vobes?" And they have a quick thing. Kevin Hall is laughing his head off, or LAMO. I can't remember. Laughing my. Oh, yes, bottom off. Yes, that's right. Anne says, yes, please. She wants to laugh. I'll post the link to the website, and I'll post a link to the Thunderbirds thing in the thing, and you can download it as you were. Jake says, this is a weird episode, Richard. This is a weird episode. This one, yes, it's weird. I mean, some episodes are not so weird, and some are more weird. What's weird about it? I probably shouldn't have had that extra snort of coffee that I did have this morning, but honestly, that's all it was. Anyway, so that was that. The track now, Cushty Phil. Let's get back onto proper things. I've just got to find the picture that I wanted here. Here we go. Cushty Phil posted this picture today, amongst others, in the group, and if you're not in the group, you need to get down there and have a look. This is a church, if I remember rightly, it's Up Waltham Church. And Up Waltham Church, ladies and gentlemen, is a church, the Church of St. Mary the Virgin. It's set back from the road. It's set back from the road, away from practically all other buildings in a fabulously remote-looking location, and unfortunately, the A285 to Chichester Petworth Road races through the valley below. So unfortunately you get a lot of noise. But the church, it says here, is even harder to notice from the road, but the terrible storm of October 87 ripped out nearly all the mature trees surrounding the churchyard, and now the winds whistle along. So there we go. Anyway, I thought that must be one to be found and searched out, because there seems to be a bit of an interest in churches, and it's a lovely looking church. So thanks, Cushty Phil. And I did say, if you fancy meeting up and we could go round together, because you're obviously a keen photographer, we could go around, have a little chat, take some pictures, maybe have a cup of coffee and a flask and some sandwiches. I'll bring some donuts, that sort of thing, and we can pontificate about the scenery and the A285 and the Chichester bypass and the aeroplanes at Goodwood, or whatever it is. So the offer is there if you're up for it, because I try to get as many people as I can involved in the show. That's very much what this is all about. So we will see what that is. Juliet says, whoa, not the trees. Yes, I'm sorry, Juliet, the poor old trees, they were blown away. Blown away as God sneezes. So I know you're not a God-fearing person, but when he sneezes, that's the time to take cover, for sure. I'm not a God-fearing person either, unless he sneezes and a tree is falling on me. Timber! Watch out for that tree! To quote somebody. Anyway, so that was that. What else have we got in our thing? Oh, yes. Now, another interesting place to go for the old walks, and has been suggested. Let me find. Here we go. This was posted by Justin, I think, or somebody posted it in the Sussex Mills group, and then Justin posted it in the group and linked me in. Not LinkedIn. I'm not on LinkedIn. Linked me in. It's a new service, the Vobes special service. Link me in. And this is a windmill. You can see that down in the bottom left-hand quadrant, shall we say. It's near Rod Mill and South Ease. Now, these are places south of Lewes in East Sussex, and this is, I think this is from, is it Yeekles and something? Gardner, I think it is. It's a funny old name, isn't it? Yeekle and Gardner. It's a 1778 to 1783 2-inch to 1 mile map, as you know, whatever. Anyway, somebody came across this on a Flickr site, and it shows the site of the old mill on Windmill Hill, which is located, it says, at some time in the 17th century, about 1688, till it blew down in 1799, when the mill was rebuilt. But I don't think it's there now. But I don't care about that, because sometimes it's just nice to go for a walk somewhere where there was a mill. It just gives you an excuse to go and hunt for the actual place, and in the meantime see some lovely scenery. And you know that I do like a little bit of nice scenery. So it's nice to do that. So again, that's another thing on the cut. I think it would be so busy. But the great thing is, what I love about this is the suggestions are coming from you, and they're not so much dictated by me, which is, I think, you know, the way that this little slightly bizarre community works. And I hope you agree with me, which would be rather good. Yes, Harriet and Lola, and little Lola, although she didn't give me any pictures of little Lola, which was a shame. Harriet, who unfortunately can't be with us this evening, she's gone out to see her friends, talking about skiing, because she's going off to, she did tell me, somewhere in the French Alps. It's all right for some, isn't it? It's all right for some. She went climbing up Pole Bank. Where's Pole Bank on my little map here? And she gathered this view today. I should have given her a camera, or at least a recorder or something, and said, go and record something, my dear, and show us what. So she clambered up. There's a waterfall on the way up Cardingmill Valley towards Pole Bank. In Shropshire, should just add, it's in the beautiful county, the rural county, the largest landlocked county of Shropshire. And she climbed up there to Pole Bank, up that little track, all the way, and managed to get to the waterfall with this little dachshund, this little long-haired dachshund, which accompanied her. So I thought I'd just share that with you. And we went up there. There is a video where we climb up Cardingmill Valley in icy conditions. And yes, yours truly fell over and nearly broke the camera. But don't worry, I was all right. Yeah, I know you were hoping to get the next episode from Casualty, but A&E with my sister laughing. Yes, I know, it happens all the time. I expect that. So that was something else that came in. Let's see how we're doing. Rob Moore says, my wife Lenny says, come and see her at Truffles. Oh, in Lancing for amazing donuts. Oh, well, Rob, in Lancing, did you say? Well, what is Truffles? Is it a cake shop or a coffee shop? Can one come in and have a cup of coffee in Truffles and have a nice donut? That would be lovely. So there we are, a bit of free advertising for you. Go and visit Mrs. Moore. Mrs. Moore, please, Mrs. Moore, can I have some more? More? Just want more donuts, please. Yes, so that would be good. Ed Keeley says it's long gone, but there are pictures of it standing. Is that the windmill at Rodmell? It's because of the delay I often get, or is that the donuts that have all long gone, but there are pictures of people eating them, probably. Kevin Hall says, so I see. So that would be... Oh, iced truffle. Get some truffled ice buns for tomorrow evening. Oh, Julia, that's a good idea. Ho, ho, ho! Because I'm going to be at school. Like a naughty little schoolboy, I shall be at a West London school tomorrow reporting in my little bib and tucker. I have a little tie, a striped tie, a little blazer, a little hat, peak hat, you know.
Yes, sir. Whatever you want, sir. Yeah, right, sir. I've got to go behind the bike shed, sir. Yeah, 'cause Julia's coming later, and I've got to get ready and smoke. Pump up my tyres. I've got to pump up my tyres.
It's all very mad. I don't know. What was in that coffee I had? Has someone spiked my drink? It's all very... So, do you like the merch, as they say? The merch. That's what people who sell stuff online say. Get some merch. Or in my world, it's merchandise. It's like Hyundai. No, that's Hyundai. That's a car, isn't it? No, I'm sorry, I'm being a bit silly. So anyway, sorry about today's show. There's someone's wound up the rubber band a little too tightly. You may have heard a terrible, tragic story about the RAF, was it the Red Arrows person who was getting in, doing his pre-checks, and the seat blew up, and the ejector seat, the terrible story, really sad, and it was because a nut was tightened up too much. Well, you know, the elastic band in this show that runs this, it's Eric. It's Eric. Eric? What have you... Eric, are you down there?
That's right, sir. I'm here, sir.
Well, have you been tightening up the elastic band again?
That's right, sir. I tightened it right up, sir.
Yes. Well, can you loosen it for tomorrow? We mustn't have such a manic show. Every now and again, it's all right, I think. Anyway, Richard, go and visit Diddling Church. Not Diddling. Is it Diddling? Diddling, not diddling. Diddly. Ken Dodd and the Diddling Men. Near Bepton. It's at the foot of the South Downs. I've made a note of it. I have made a note of it, but I haven't had a chance to get out there, you see. I mean, at night time, I'm put into the straitjacket, as you can imagine, and then I'm released into the padded cell, so I don't always get a chance to get out, but I will. I've got it in the other room. I've got a little red book. No, not Chairman Mao's. What are you talking about? No, little red book, and I write down all the suggestions, and so that I can go, I must go there, and I must go there, and I need to pick a fine day for this, and I must do this, and I must do the other. So, that's basically the idea. Chrissy Richardson says, you're certainly a wee bit hyper tonight. Yes, I do apologise for that. I must, it's too many E numbers. Well, actually, to be fair, at the Woods restaurant that we went to, they did give us some jelly beans. Maybe, Nigel, you had some of those jelly beans. Are you bouncing off the walls a bit? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is a bit too many of those. Anyway, so what else was there? There was, and of course, I've arranged, hopefully Friday, if the weather is good, and I can't guarantee it, but good old Chris Monk, who took me to New Haven, he has organised, he has got a mystery place. Hang on, I've got to get the picture up now. Where is the sodding thing? Here it is. He said, have a look at this, Richard. Here it is. Have a look at this. He said, there's a mysterious thing, or building, or construction, or whatever it is, and he gave me a Google link. This is on the top of Seaford Head, and it's close to the Seven Sisters, and he said we could go there. Do you know what it is? And I thought to myself, no, I haven't a blinking clue. What the devil is it? So anyway, it's close to this place, which is rather lovely, and I've been there, of course, with good old Martin Snow, and you can check those episodes out in the walks where we went and looked at the Coast Guard's cottages, and we looked at some of the World War II defences on the cubes. The anti-tank things, and also we had a look at some telegraph wires which were in the sea. Well, we couldn't see them, but we did go looking for them. But I don't know what this other thing is, whatever that is. Here it is. If anybody can tell me, so I'm one up on Chris, that would be great. So possibly going out to do that on Friday. The weather up north in Harrietland this weekend, I was going to go up this weekend. I don't know if I am, because it's going to pour with rain, and I don't want to get there and just twiddle my thumbs and just, have my face licked all over. No, not by Harriet, by Lola. That's what she does. That's exactly what she does. So, so there we go. Oh, and I should tell you, I've been very busy today. I've been trying to hook up some hotels. Well, a hotel, trying to get some interviews, and another interesting place, which we'll tell you more about, if it happens, tomorrow, because the lovely Julia from the Kingly Vale video and the Fairy Tree video, the lovely Julia, and we are planning to elope to the other side of the country, just for a couple of days, and make some videos just for you. And so Julia will be coming in. We've got some interesting things. We've got donuts, apparently, which is all very exciting, and a very unusual and old drink. I will say no more. I don't want to give the game away, but I hope that you'll tune in tomorrow night. Now, I've got a bit of a tough thing, because I'm coming back from West London, and then I've got to come back here and set up the show, and then whiz over and pick up Julia, and then come back here, and we'll do the show, and then take Julia home, and come back here and relax. Upload so I may be uploading the YouTube show a bit late tomorrow, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube on the replay, thank you very much. It may be a bit late tomorrow because I've got to run errands, as it were. Errands? That's a bird, isn't it? Oh no, that's a heron. Maybe I think that we're about time to disappear and go off and do our own thing. I'm sure you're bored of my little noggin now. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been absolutely good. Glad my hubby has his headphones in this evening. He's not watching, is he? He's not. I don't want jealous husband coming around with baseball bats. Maybe he'll be standing above, just making sure everything's all right. You know. And after all, I don't want Harriet coming in with a baseball bat. Not again. Not after the last time. How do you think I lost the first eye? I've only got one left. Otherwise, instead of the bald explorer, we'll be watching the blind explorer with his white stick tapping away down the road. Dear, oh dear. We can't have any of that nonsense, can we? So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been rather silly, and I do apologise for that. Sometimes, people who've listened to the old Vobes show will know. I'll put links to the traction engine, the lovely lady, Wendy Wakelin, and her stories and the traction engine stuff. Of course, I'll bung a link up to the improvised Thunderbird episode of the Vobes show, which is a podcast. And what other business have I got? Oh, and by the way, just to say, if new people do come along to the group and join the group, I'm sorry if I'm a bit delayed in finding you, because obviously I'm not on the computer all the time. I do have a life. Oh, excuse me, I'm just having... Oh, I don't have a life. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. I've just been told by the producer. Yeah, no, it's Eric. Yeah, no, state that I don't have a life. So apologise if I don't get to the group in time. But anyway, there we are. So that's it. So thank you so much. Before we go, let's just see what's going on. Harriet Land is south, says Alex. South? It's in Shropshire. It's north. It may be south for you, up there in Lancashire. It's north for me. Jake says, I'm going to go and see a friend. Harriet, hang on a minute. You should do some more videos on Worthing, Gilbourne Centre, etc. Says Rob. Yes, I need Mr. Snow to come up with some info on that. And yeah, great show, yippee, golly, melly, says Jake. Brilliant, marvellous. Anyway, thank you very much. Sorry about that. I just thought I'd get to the last bits. The most important thing is that we communicate together and that I remember to acknowledge you. That is the key thing. So I think I've done that. So I can go to bed safely knowing that that's all done. So until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, he says, quickly looking for the end caption, which he has found, which is marvellous. Fade up the music, wave like an automatic person on autopilot, and say, arrivederci. Goodbye. 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 Today's show has been specially produced by a man and too many jelly babies. Can I go home now? Can I go home now, please? Oh, please, can I go home?